everybody, it's Jeremy. Welcome back to Lucid's Tournament 2022 Game 4, where we are playing Nazca. This is turn 11. Let's jump into things. So, we have researched Evocation 2. I pointed. Fucking flipped camera. Anyways, woo! Evocation 2. This is, it's early research and early research targets can be just incredibly interesting to really see what you're going up against, right? So Evocation 2 is interesting for us because it does give us access to things like Lightning Bolt and some other minor fire air options. We already got Flame Bolt from Evocation 1, so now we've got kind of a little mix to where I feel comfortable that we can maybe pew-pew something down in the right situations. So we're probably going to swap from Evocation into some Alteration to cover our bases there. What we're kind of trying to do is we're trying to get to the point to where maybe if we need to thug some Incas, we can, or if we need them as battlefield mages, we can, etc., etc. So, that is going okay. We've got a bunch of battles this turn, but most of these are pings on thrones. So, let's do this in two scenarios. We've got two actual attacks, one in Tylito and one in Old Man Mountains. Then we've got pings on thrones, and then we've got a battle that we see Hinnom fight. So this is going to be good for information. So let's try to go through these. We'll go through our actual battles. In Tylito, we're not expecting a very difficult fight here. There's not much here. The bigger thing from Tylito is it's a death site. We're pretty sure it's going to be like a Well of Pestilence or something like that. So now the question is how many diseases do we carry out of this place? So let's see how this goes. Lots of commanders, which is relatively annoying, and that is a fair amount of heavy infantry. But you can see, right, most of them are pretty diseased up. This should actually be relatively easy for us because these guys are pretty weakened, and there's not much going on here anyways. We'll get a drop on the back. We got an air shield off, so we're not worried about whether or not they hit us with a arrow. Drop on the front. Ooh, we did not get the heavy infantry. They're going to get some kills here, probably. But we did just kill all of the leadership, which is good. Heavy infantry all rallying. Nice. All right. Very, very good. Hell yeah. Did we actually lose anyone there? We lost a single Hatenruna. Not bad. Not bad at all. I'm pretty happy about that. I'll try to remember to check the results of whether or not we get a bunch of diseases there. So Old Man Mountains was actually where we were we converged a lot of our forces because we were worried that Agartha might be stepping into Old Man Mountains. We do not have a bump with Agartha, so that looks like that did not happen. But it's... Oh, actually, there's not very much here. We were concerned. There were a lot of, battle reports that were... Or not battle reports, but reports that were hey, this might be 40 to 60 wolf tribe. And this does look like maybe it's closer to 30 to 40. So that should be a pretty easy scenario for us. Pretty good spread. Lots of Hatenruna in this group, which is not the greatest, but it be what it be. The only issue here is that, as is wont to be done with the tribes, there's a barbarian chief shoved in here, and the barbarian chief being melee is going to tend to be we'll typically kill the wolf tribe shaman because we'll drop on the back and kill him, but not the barbarian necessarily. Depending on how much of a force we have. We actually do have a very large Hatenruna force, so we had a decent chance of enveloping them, but we did not do it. We'll still very likely win this. Oh, wow, we actually heavily striked him. Nice. Hell yeah. So that's good. That means that their stats are going to drop, and hopefully we'll lose less units there. is still... See, this is the problem with Haten Runa. Like, I know a lot of people... this is turn 11. I've recorded this far in advance, but I know a lot of people are going to be like, you should be making more Haten Runa. You should be using more Haten Runa. Haten Runa are basically free. Why aren't you using more Haten Runa to expand? Because even a group of 83 Haten Runa dropping on... let's see what they drop on. They drop on 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 21 wolf tribe, right? 21 wolf tribe and a barbarian chief. That's what the 80 some odd Haten Runa drop on. And you can see like the massive holes in the formation as they get deleted on the drop, right? Which is actually interesting because this is gonna be a good place to check this. Because someone pointed this out to me. I had known this in the past, and like part of the reason why the bless that we have is the bless that we have is to mitigate this, but I'd kind of like, you know, just shoved it in the back of my mind and not really thought about it. But combat speed is also, it's not just a matter of moving across the map. It's also part of what's I don't know if it's part or if it's all, but it's how your order, your initiative in combat basically is determined, right? Because like when two people come up against each other, you know, they don't both just attack at the same time, right? So this is, and I think part of it has to do with the length of the weapon, part of it has to do with your combat speed, etc., etc. But flyers tend to be very, very slow combat speed wise. So they actually go after, when they land, they go after these wolf tribes. So that's one of the reasons why you'll see in this big battle just massive squares. I say massive, like 3 or 4 squares of Haten Runa get deleted, because as soon as they drop, see, boom, deleted here. Well, actually, yeah, deleted here, here, and here, and here, right? Those 4 squares of Haten Runa just get deleted because the enemy, even though we're kind of like alpha striking down from the air, we basically just land in front of the enemy and the enemy goes poke poke, and then we swing. The reason why we have reason why we have Twist Fate is so that on the drop our sacreds don't immediately get obliterated. But that doesn't do anything for the Haten Runa, right? So circling back around to the original point, 83 Haten Runa dropping on 21 Wolf Tribe warriors, we insta-lost 16, basically, right? And that's rough, right? If this was 83 Haten Runa trying to take on this entire province, they probably would have died. They probably would have, I say died, but probably on the drop, they would have killed a fair amount of Wolf Tribe, both warriors and archers, but they probably would have lost 30 to 40 Haten Runas, and then they would have just HP routed, right? This is one of the reasons why I have mixed feelings on the concept of you should use Haten Runa to expand. You can. Absolutely you can, and you should, right? As kind of like I have been doing, putting Haten Runa into other stacks to reach a critical mass, right? But I think some people come off with this idea of you should just be mass producing, like you should have 10 Malquis mass producing Haten Runa. That's all you should do for like the first 6 to 7 turns of the game, right? And then you just use those massive swarms of Haten Runa to go clear everything super fast. And part of what I'm trying to do with the tracking of numbers and everything like that is to kind of show how does that actually even work, right? Because so last turn, for example, we had 4 Malquis capturing Hatenruna, and we only got 22 Hatenruna, and that basically like kicked the Hatenruna up into the, or kicked the unrest up into the point to where we couldn't get any more, right? So to reach the level to where you're pumping out so many Hatenruna, you have to put so much investment, right? Or in one location, or have a fair amount of investment in multiple locations, right? To be able to generate enough Hatenruna to throw things like stacks of 80 onto other groups, right? And obviously, there are going to be certain situations, like take Tyleto, for example, right? 80 Hatenruna thrown into that probably would have done just fine. All they needed to do was get lucky and hit the 4 commanders in the back, right? But if they didn't get lucky, 80 Hatenruna against those 30 would probably still have won, but they probably would have taken a fair amount of casualties, and they might have routed one of the stacks, right? So anyways, like that's just kind of an example that I want to show. Hatenruna are very powerful when I think used correctly, but I think some people have this concept that you can just generate massive amounts of Hatenruna and use them with reckless abandon. And you can use them with reckless abandon. You just shouldn't expect the results to be that great, honestly, right? And don't at me, right? Because I know you can do it. It's just risky, right? Because I've done testing where I just basically didn't produce any mages or anything like that. I just did Apus, just turned things into into Malquis, right? And you absolutely can get it done, but it's kind of luck based, right? If you have bad indie stacks, you're not going to be able to take them, or you're going to take them with severe attrition, right? So anyways, that's just a long-winded digest of Hatenruna, and kind of like an example of even when we had vastly superior numbers, right? 138 versus 48, we still lost 16 Hatenruna on the drop, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. Anyways, that's still good. We took Tyleto with 1 Hatenruna loss, took Old Man Mountains with 16 Hatenruna loss. We're happy to lose those Hatenruna for the exchange of provinces, so that's perfectly good. Very nice. What's up, Famalama? Nice! You look like an anime or a video game character now. Rocking the... Who is it? It's not Troa. Does Troa have that? Troa has this thing going on. Troa from Gundam Wing. DBZ? I mean, yeah, that's that too. Oh yeah, very like Trunks with the like flopped over scenario going on like this. Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm good. I still have the hot fries you got me yesterday. Thank you. Okay, so we've got the actual battles. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Ashdod. I always say Hinnom, because I'm just so used to calling them Hinnom. Probably from the year and a half that I played Tetragrammaton against Hinnom. So, let's watch this battle, and then because we're probably going to be relatively long-winded over the different thrones. So, what do we got going on here? Okay, so Hinnom has the Macemen. That's a interesting scenario. And they're already generating free spawn, right? So they have the ability to generate long dead and long dead Rephites, which are really cool, right? I think any nation that is able to generate unique long dead is neat, as long as those unique long dead aren't absolute garbage compared to the regular long dead, because then I'm like, you're just penalizing me for having unique long dead. Thanks, Nazca. Like, oh goodness. Anyways, so we've got that going on. We've got an Emite back here. We've got an oh no. Okay. I was gonna say I thought there was a Dawn here, but there's not. So there's a Kohen here with a couple of Ahimen Anakites and 2 Sheshai Anakites. And Sheshai Anakites are very dangerous because of their berserk, right? And there's a little bit of PD here, but it's not gonna matter. Let's see what the bless be. Blessy, blessy, blessy. All right. That is actually a very modest bless. Wow. That is interesting. Attack skill 2, shock 10, cold 10, strength 2. So attack skill 2 is nice because they don't have the greatest attack skill in existence. So that is nice, right? That's especially going to be you can generally rely on Anakites to be around for a while, which means that they're likely going to build up experience pips, meaning that any base increase to stats can get them really high, right? Because if you're also getting boosts from your experience pips and you've got a boost in your bless, then Anakites, for example, can get up to like 20 attack very easily, and that's awesome. Especially against things like elves, you know? So that's pretty cool. And then Shock 10, Cold 10 is just like a generalized protection. They already have built-in fire resistance. I think all of them do. Yeah, I think all of the giants of Ashdod have basically built-in fire resistance. So that's a nice just little aside. And then there's Strength +2. This looks like maybe this is just an elemental bless, right? So you could get this by going by going 3 fire, 3 shock, or 3 lightning, 3 air. My god, I can't speak. 3 water, 3 earth, right? I think yeah. So that's very simple, which means that Ashdod probably has really fucking good scales, which is kind of scary, right? Because what that means is he has access to these very strong Anakites, right? Which are already good statistically. They already have very high protection. They already have good combat stats. They already hit real fucking hard, right? Their only kind of like issue being is that they don't have great attack density because they're size 5. But this is and especially this, I think the Sheshai Anakites are a little less, they're a little less protected than the Ahimen Anakites. But they berserk, so there's an upside there. These are a great, just an absolutely astonishing, like, basis or a chassis for buffs in the late game. So if you can take, the only issue being is that you only get the Anakites from your capital, right? So, but if you can take High Dominion, or just spam out a bunch of temples, and you have a fantastic economy, right? You can just sit here and mass produce Anakites, and those Anakites, like I said, are going to tend to be alive for a very long time, going to get a lot of experience pips, and in the late game, they're just so, you put protection buffs on them, my god, their protection is going to shoot through the roof. You put regeneration on them, you put increased strength on them, they're going to hit like fucking trucks, right? Legions of Steel, Strength of Giants, Rush of Blood, right? Or is it Rush of Strength? It's Rush of Strength, I think. And then you throw any of like the resistance buffs on them, and they're like, they are not going to care about the vast majority of battlefield evocation. So this is really, really cool. And it's also really, really scary because it means that Hinnom is probably going to be able to shit out a whole bunch of very strong units. And that's going to be very difficult for us to deal with. The upside here, if this, so there's the possibility that this is imprisoned because these are all non-incarnate. So it could be dormant, which dormants are coming awake. Could be imprisoned, right? So this could be more than this. This could just be a starter. Or this could be more of a scales build. Either way is pretty interesting and pretty cool, I think. If this is just a starter, though, and something's coming out from dormant or imprisoned, I'm really interested to see what that something is. Typically, I would assume that it's going to be more defensive stuff like regeneration or, I don't know, like, I would say like hard skin, but he's already got the strength +2. I guess technically this could be... Now, it would make sense if this was, like, blood. So, anyways, like, there's a lot of things that this could still mean, but if this is just straight up this bless and scales, this is okay for us because these are not unkillable God Kings for us right now. These are unkillable God Kings for this fucking indie province, but these are not unkillable God Kings for us, right? We can... Not only can we attack rear these, right, like he's got them relatively open, but even if we had to fight the actual Anakites, or the Ahimen anyways, we could get through this protection, we could chew through these HP, although it would take a while, right? The Sheshais are a bit of a problem because of the Berserk, but they also, again, their protection's going to go up, but... I think your defense skill goes down, right? So we're going to have an easier time hitting them, etc., etc. I might need to look into switching from Condor Warriors over to Sun Guard, because Sun Guard are going to have an easier time fighting against these Anakites. But yeah. Anyways, so let's just continue and see how this goes. This is going to be a very long episode, apparently. I'm very long-winded today. I apologize if that's not your bag. Watch me on double speed. Let's go! In fact, let's speed up this. Mercenaries have routed. And everything else is pretty simple. So, what do we got? Lost 12 Macemen, didn't lose anything else. Yeah, that's kind of to be expected. Like I said, these Anakites are so good that you can expect them, even without a bless, you can expect them to be around for quite a while. Okay, so... Very cool. Got some interesting information on Ashdod with their bless. Very neat. And now we can take a look at the 3 pings that we have on the throne provinces. So this is Sitala. This is fucked off. My goodness. This is a lot of Centaur Warriors. Centaur Warriors are no joke. They berserk. Right? So they hit fairly hard. They have multiple attacks, decent attack density, nice HP, high-ish defense. This is a bunch of Vine Ogres who can hit relatively hard. Vine Ogres you can deal with some pretty simple plays like Fire Shield plays and stuff like that, because you just have to get really high protection and they can't really get through to you, and you just put up Fire Shield and fuck them over. So this is something that we can deal with, but that is somewhat difficult to do while dealing with the Centaur Warriors at the same time. Not impossible, but something difficult to do. We would have to have high construction, or we'd have to get some items from someone, say Olm, for example, right? To, you know, like kit out an Inca to basically be almost unkillable with, you know, like Mist Form and put up a Fire Shield and have high protection, etc., etc. We could even fluff with things like Iron Skin or Body Ethereal, depending on what we want to have access to. These light infantry are basically inconsequential, but we've got a couple of other things going on here. We've got some heavy infantry in here. We got this guy in the Blood Guard, right? Blood Guards are the last members of a Sinister Warrior sect. So he's got Homesickness 10. He's got Berserker 4. So that's pretty interesting. Don't know what's up with that. We've got a Jotun Axeman here who's gonna hit real fucking hard. He's a problem, right? Because if we're relying on like a high protection build, he could cause issues to us. We've got 2 commanders in the back that don't seem to have anything really going on, and then we have an Azure Mage who is Berserk. Okay, that's actually good, because as a Water 2 with a bunch of Water Gems, he could cause some trouble. But he's Berserk, so he's not going to cause any trouble. He's just going to fucking walk in and die. But then we have a Dryad, who is water 1, nature 1 with some gems. Could do some swarm casting. That could be annoying. That could be pretty bad, actually, for like stalling out buff cycles and things like that. This is a interesting throne, a challenging throne, but a doable throne, right? I'm also hopeful of this because vine ogres. Now, there's no telling, right? Like thrones can spawn with basically any sort of protection, but generally speaking, sometimes I feel like sometimes thrones are more likely to spawn with things similar to them. Like a throne of fire might have fire snakes, right? Or a throne of Gaia might have like earth-oriented things, or a throne of life might have life plant-oriented things. Could be hopeful, but that's no guarantee, honestly. the only way we're gonna know is if we just take it or we scry it. So, and we have no interest in really using our air gems to do something like scrying right now. So, okay, so Sitala is kind of neat, cool stuff. Did our guy make it back? He did make it back. Okay, cool. Then we have CERN, which is to the southwest of us. That was Sitala was to the northwest. CERN is to the southwest. And this is an interesting throne. Bunch of heavy cav, bunch of militia, bunch of light cav, bunch of heavy infantry. The heavy cav being the actual most dangerous thing as far as these things go. And heavy cav are definitely dangerous, but they are definitely, you can deal with them. Again, high protection tricks like high protection moss body, for example, will deal with them without issues. But there are a bunch of mages here. Let's check the commanders, see if there's anything on them. There's not. Then we have Rigo the Wizard, Air 1, Water 1, Earth 1. This is actually pretty okay, because those are really low paths and unlikely to result in anything super horrid. Though he does have gems, so he could do things like lightning bolts or, I don't know. We got options, but I don't know. Astral 2 is a bit more of a problem because this guy could mind burn or, do shit like that. That's a problem. Yep, okie dokie. That's the real kicker. We got a fucking wizard back here who's Fire 4 with a shit ton of fire gems. That means fire elementals, absolutely. Now, that is not the worst thing for us in existence because that could actually help us take this province. We have fire resistance in our bless, and we could very easily make some or buy some fire resistance gear to the point to where our fire resistance gets up relatively high, and then we're basically immune to the fire elemental, but none of the rest of this shit's gonna be immune to the fire elemental, right? So we make ourselves immune to the fire elementals that this guy's invariably gonna cast, and we make ourselves basically immune to the heavy cav, which are going to be the other thing, and then this guy, the fire elemental, just burns everyone else to death, and we route them via that. We don't even have to do any of the real killing. Then we have another guy, lower paths, black steel full plate, and chi shoes. Interesting. This Astral 2. The two Astral 2s are also potentially an issue because of mind burn shenanigans and things like that. Let's see if they cast anything immediately. They are communioning up. Really? That's even more interesting because now this guy is Fire 5. Holy shit. That's actually not a horrible thing, though, because that means this guy is going to be communioned up, and we don't have to worry about that. Him being Astral 3, though, and having Astral Pearls could also be a bad thing. Like, a fucking bad thing. That's interesting. CERN, also a doable throne province, but got some complications. Forgotten Woods. What do we got going on here? And I have no idea as far as like CERN goes, what like we might be going up against. Strength of Gaia. Ugh. This is like the worst. Watcher thrones are horrible. Especially because they fucking tend to come with gigantic ass monoliths. Get a taste of my own medicine with the innate spellcaster there. yeah, okay, that's a bad. A bunch of deer tribe. Deer tribe's not necessarily of concern. We can protection tank that very easily. The Enkidu soldiers mixed in are also relatively easy to protect, to deal with from protection. It's the Watchers that are a problem, right? The Watchers combined with the Monolith, because you don't know what this fucker is gonna do. You don't know such high Earth, astral, and nature. You don't know if this guy is going to soul slay you, or gifts of heaven you, right? Or gifts of heaven himself, right? Or if he's gonna do massive swarm cast, or fucking, I don't know, earthquake. I don't fucking have a clue. Like, it could do so many different things. And whatever he's, regardless of what he's doing, these things hit real fucking hard with this armor negating lightning. So you cannot protection tank these fucks. You have to lightning resistance tank these guys. Which we actually didn't take lightning resistance on our bless because we took thunder weapons instead. So this is still doable, but it's not as easily doable as some other things might be. So that's a little unfortunate, right? Still doable, but kind of a pain in the ass. Super high protection too, and high HP. Very astronomically high protection and ridiculously high HP. Yeah, this is rough. Now we can get around some of those things by building, specific weaponry, like the smashers or whatever, the things that do bonus damage against like constructs. So that's an option. But yeah, this is, and there's a fucking deer tribe shaman in the back to do like tangle vines and fucking sleep or some shit like that. I don't know. That's rough. That's absolutely rough. Definitely, this is probably the most difficult throne that we will see. Shit, that's not great. Actually, did we retreat here? We retreated successfully. Did we retreat here? We did not retreat successfully here. I'm not steamed about losing a Karaka. We retreated 3 of them this turn, so that's kind of a perfectly fine deal. Okay, this was like a 30-minute video just to get through those battles. I'm super long-winded today. I apologize, because I'm going to do a lot of recording today, so you're probably going to see a lot of long-winded videos over the course of the next, I don't know, couple days. Anyways, yeah. Interesting stuff. We got 2 victories. We learned some interesting things about the thrones around us. We learned some interesting things about Ashdod stuff. Let's do battles this turn versus Indies. We have 2 wins and 3 losses, so very nice there. All of those losses were known quantities, so no worries. I think actually, so in the first year video, I think I'm going to split out the pings and not report them as losses. And I think going forward, it's not going to matter, right? But I don't know. We'll see. I'm still figuring out exactly how I want all this stuff to work. Okay, next up. Calypso, the Malqui Priestess, has foreseen a major event that will occur in 3 months' time. Stars are right for evocations. So, yeah, I think I'm going to report this. So we'll report this as a positive event, right? Because things like Fortune Teller, this is the same thing as mixing in with our luck, right? So that's cool. Event foreseen, evocation. So 1 positive event this turn. So that's pretty neat. I will gladly take that. And then Unrest in Bara is too high for us to fully get all of the Hatan Runa that we could have gotten, and we're patrolling it down. It's not going to be patrolled down very much because we moved all of our Hatan Runa out last turn to help in Old Man Mountains. Okay, we've got a lot of stuff. Well, I say a lot of stuff. We've got a lot of movement going on, but most of it is very simple movement. So not a lot of big issues going on here. Because we hit Old Man Mountains, we're not going to be able to hit 2 provinces this turn, meaning we're only going to be able to move into Noranthian. So what we're going to do is we're going to move Pakcha Cutie, the Inca, back to Nazca, with this force, we're pulling out all of the condors, right, with Urko and moving them over to Noranthian to join up with Kusi. Okay? This should give Kusi more than enough to take on these Horse Tribe cavalries. Then Pachacuti can replenish. He's got a couple of Condor warriors and some Supayas. He'll be able to replenish in Nazca with more Condor warriors and more Supayas from last turn's recruitment and this turn's recruitment. And then the following turn, I think we'll be able to go from Noranthian, as long as nothing bad happens, we'll be able to go from Noranthian into Omia and from Nazca into Golem, right? So that should be pretty okay. We're sending this Karaka back with some Hatenruna. And basically, we're sending them back so that we can patrol down better. We didn't need to send all of these Hatenruna over to Nazca because we're not going to have enough space for all of them, right? So I tried to get it to where we should have a perfect 90 when we leave with Pachacuti next turn. So we're heading back into Bara. We're also sending, just consolidating forces in Bara with our other Karaka over here. Be able to sneak around, easy peasy. This Karaka is heading into Pack Woods with the plan being to attack Olifa the following turn, right? So that we can just ping that province and know what's going on in that throat. So I see some fire snakes. I see some clavemen. Has a netter of kings. We just want to get an actual idea, see if there's any items on anybody, etc., etc. Actually, I think I forgot to point this out, but I think in Sitala there is. I say that, was it Sitala? No, I don't think it was Sitala. I think it was a different province. But never mind. Yeah, we were just looking around. Anyways, so we've got that movement. We're site searching in Forest of Pine and in Mighty Pillars. And this turn, I think this is where we're going to go ahead and talk about this. We are building a palisade. So one palisade for buildings. First infrastructure going up. This is not great timing on our first infrastructure. Turn 11 is pretty fucking late, truth be told. But honestly, I kind of expected people to bump me earlier than this, intentionally bump me earlier than this, to kind of like, I expected Agartha or Hinnom to come at me at turn like 7 or 8 or something. So I was kind of like, look, don't put down infrastructure. It's just going to be someone else's infrastructure. And in point of fact, this might still end up being someone else's infrastructure. But previously, I was able to turn all of the gold that I had been getting into troops, into, province defense, into decent recruitment in various locations. It's at this point, though, I'm starting to get to the point to where I have more money than I can put into all of this recruitment and stuff like that. I think last turn I had like 300 gold left over after recruiting all of the things that I wanted to recruit, and I could start going for mercenaries and things like that, but I don't think that's a great investment for me. So we're at the point to where it's like, okay, might as well try to put up a palisade. It may just end up being a scenario where, oh, well, that palisade's going to someone else. So we'll see how that goes, but it is what it is, right? As of right now, we're just trying to put all of our money into more stuff. I think previously, if we had tried putting up a palisade around like turn 7 or 8, we'd either have it completed now or we'd be close to completing it now. But I don't think with the sacrifice that we would have had to do that, I don't think we would have been able to expand as we have expanded. Not that we've expanded great. Or I don't think we would have the military presence that I kind of want us to. Because when we combine all of these units, right, like we actually have a fair amount of sacreds floating around. So, and that's really kind of what we're aiming for. We have a fair amount of sacreds. We're getting a fair amount of other troops, right, to try to defend ourselves in what I assume is going to be the inevitable coalition war. I'm going to laugh. I'm not going to laugh. I'm going to cry. I'm going to be very sad if we just don't get coalitioned at all, like, or if we just don't even get attacked at all, right? Like, how bizarre would that be if if ultimately everyone just kind of like leaves us alone and we stay small, and it's like, okay, well, you got to pick a fight or deal with the fact that you didn't take very good scales and you're not going to scale. So that would be hilarious to me, actually. Anyways, so that's what we have for buildings for the turn. Let's go to recruitment real quick. We've got recruitment. We have 1 Akla, 1 Scout, 4 Condor Warriors, 7 Alcac Spearmen, 3 Heavy Infantry, and 2 Supayas. So this is kind of the recruitment that we're just kind of settling into. Decent amount of burbs coming out each turn. Whichever mage we need at the particular time. We're getting another Akla for a combination of reasons. One, so that we can potentially just research a little bit more. But the other reason being that we're probably going to send them up here when necessary to Mighty Pillars to build a temple, build the lab, do that type of thing. So there's that. And then everything else I think is relatively typical. We're continuing to recruit heavy infantry up here. I do think that those will be a serviceable shield wall for us, depending on who we go up against, right? So yeah, that's pretty much that. Piggybacking on the recruitment-wise scenario, even though we did not have a lot of patrolling happen last turn, even besides that, we still managed to capture 32 Hatenruna this turn, which is pretty nice. 5 Malquis generating 32. I think it's kind of the top end. I think those are some high rolls. Honestly. I say that, but did anybody flee? Maybe that might be incorrect. Maybe some of the stuff fled. No, we don't have any retreat details, so nobody fled. So okay, yeah, we generated 32 Hatenruna apparently. All right, the last little thing that we are doing this turn is we recruited a Huron priest last turn, and this turn we are using that Huron priest to rituals 1 dark knowledge on Toledo. Because, I mean, we know Toledo has a death site. Absolutely guaranteed. We know Toledo has a death site. So let's figure out what that death site is and go from there. Hopefully it'll be more than 1, and we'll hit that point to where, like, the goal, obviously, with remote site searching in this case, the goal should be efficient and don't do as I do, or as I say, really. Because I'm really bad about remote site searching. But the goal for me is to hit that point to where we make as much or more than it costs to remote site search every turn, so that we can remote site search every turn without losing gems, basically. So, and Dark Knowledge takes 4 gems. It's actually one of the, I don't think I think it is the most expensive site searching spell, but it's also one of the earliest on, I think. I say that. It's fucking Conjuration 3. I don't know. It's one of the easiest to cast because it's just Death 1. So that's kind of the aside, I suppose. And it's got a long range, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, let's take a look. This was QC's army. They attacked in Toledo. We only got 2 diseases. And only 1 on an actual Condor Warrior. It does suck to have 1 on a Condor Warrior. We could potentially, like, try to run him through a province with Paquo, right? To try to get that disease healed, but it's whatever at the end of the day, honestly. That being said, some of these guys have a fair amount of experience. 70 experience on this Condor Warrior already. That's some nice pips, right? +2 attack, +2 defense. That's pretty good. Pretty good. You get morale, yeah, from experience as well. Precision we don't care about, obviously, right? But the increased attack skill, increased defense would be really nice. If we could get, like, the Throne of Fire or Throne of Water, we could turn some of these, like, sacreds that we have into very accurate and or very dodgy individuals. Well, I say very dodgy. Still not going to compare to like an elf cav or something like that, but pretty nice. Yeah. Oh, is he in his house? Oh, he's digging in his house. Anyways, that is it for this turn, I think. I don't think there's anything else to really discuss. Still don't know who our water neighbor is. The water is definitely fighting. Very early wars in the water. I think there's like a 1v1v1 going in the water already. Not 100% sure, but definitely there has been some early aggression. So, that's pretty interesting. And interestingly enough, there has been no early aggression on me. Although, I will say, none of my neighbors are being especially chatty, right? So, I don't think it's long in coming. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey everybody, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like, commenting, or subscribing. It really helps me out. If you'd like to see me live, head over to my Twitch at twitch.tv/thedistanthorizon.